Okay, not lying. Before that, because I was
before
hanging.
this, you were lying though.
I always lie.
What was that?
Because I picked up I Hate Fairyland.
Yeah.
And
You
I'm
hate
all
it.
like, because Scotty Young, holy crap, is he amazing? And then the reason why I know him is because of his Marvel stuff.
Yep.
And I'm all like, oh, I like this chibified like characters, and it's like super cute and like gritty, and I'm like, totally
Dude,
get into that.
It's like the perfect mixture of cute and
gritty.
gory.
And
Like you
yeah,
said, yeah, like,
and then
it's great.
it was really beautiful. So I'm like, I'm gonna go pick up, I Hate Fairyland, and
Did
I'm
you
all
get
like,
the trade or the issues?
the issues.
Okay.
Nice.
And then because I kind of like stopped. I don't know. I go on and off with comic books, and I feel
typical, though.
guilty about that. I guess.
You should. You're on a show about comic books. You can't admit that you stopped reading them. Just
Whatever.
kidding.
I could
Who
admit
cares?
it. Right.
Yeah. Just kidding. Who cares?
So then I picked up this one. So I didn't know that I Hate Fairyland was like an indie comic book. They're just,
Okay.
because well, yeah, but because with Scotty Young, I just feel like, oh, it's Scotty
Yeah.
Young.
So like, the way
Is he like mainstream? I guess.
Here, we can do a sidebar.
There you go.
We
Yeah.
can do a sidebar.
Sidebar, everyone.
Sidebar. A topic. How do you
Just-
classify indie comics?
Just pull up a paddle and let's start rowing this boat.
Okay, I don't want to talk about it anymore.
How do you classify an indie comic?
I don't know how to row a boat, but let's do it.
With an
Personally?
or what?
That's what you.
I can't
Right?
believe I got her to do it.
There-
Oh
What's
no!
going? I don't know what's happening. Okay, so how do you define an indie comic? Wow,
I would define an indie comic that's anything that's not DC or Marvel. Personally.
I wanted
Okay.
to do the voice so bad.
What? What voice?
You
Are
know,
you gonna do the woodworking voice?
I can't do that.
No. You can't take my voice.
No, that's why I
That's
decided not to.
copyrighted. 2016 by Jeff
Yeah,
Walsh.
no one wants to hear it anyway.
No.
Oh, triggered!
Okay, so Yar, how do you what would you class like? Somebody goes, okay, what's indie comics?
Yeah.
How do you describe? What's the definition you would give someone that?
Jeff, that's a good question.
Thanks, Spencer
Now for our answer, special guest Yara.
Rivera,
Jeffrey's sister-in-law.
who is our special guest on this. the first
I
episode
don't
of
know how to like. See, I
2017.
could think it, but I can't like fully explain it because it's like when I hear mainstream, I'm like, I don't want to touch that.
Oh, she's a hipster.
I am. Look at the denim jackets, pins. You know what I'm saying?
She's a hipster.
I know what she's
I am right.
Do you know what she's saying?
I do.
Because like if like what I think like mainstream, obviously DC and Marvel, but you don't ever think about Image or like Dark Horse, and then
Yeah, 'cause I don't think of those as. I think of those as indie.
right. That's off to the side of me. But so I guess that's why you could call it indie, because it's not what you usually see in everyday. I guess you don't see
Yeah.
a movie about it, and you don't see like shows about it. So I'm like, that's what I consider mainstream.
Unfortunately,
yeah.
I would.
No.
I would
See,
love
this
to.
is where
I hate Fairyland the animated series. Ooh. Oh my gosh.
See, the thing is with that, because if indie stuff ever became
Huge.
like a huge thing, especially making it in a movie
Okay.
or like a show,
Yeah,
I think they're gonna destroy it because they're trying to have to cater to. Oh, I'm gonna get so triggered by saying this. They're gonna cater to people who don't read it or like don't know nothing about it, just like the Marvel movies and DC movies, because
Early on.
Right.
Yeah.
Because we went to WonderCon last year, or this year actually, and this guy, we were wearing our Marvel. No, it was this year.
Was it?
We were wearing our Marvel shirt because it was Marvel Shirt Day,
Oh, that's right. We did that.
and then we were
did that,
walking
yeah.
out of the park or towards the convention center, and this guy was like, "Is this a Marvel convention?" And I'm all like,
Ow.
"It's
Ow.
it's WonderCon, and
Wow.
and you're wearing a Marvel T-shirt. You should know where in the world you are going." Oh,
But see, that's
I
what.
need to take a breather because
but see, that's what's like. That's what all the movies have done now. Is that they've
yeah, they have to cater.
they've opened up the idea of comic book characters
Which I'm
to
not-
the general public.
But which I'm not against, but like just if people are getting into like comic books that way, at least do more research,
They don't.
I guess.
Nobody does research. Nobody. Like, I agree with you. I think like, but the thing is, like, people. There are people out there that go, "Oh, I'm a huge Batman fan," and what they mean is, "I've seen all the movies."
Right.
Yeah.
And okay, like, I guess, like, if you
I'm
want.
exasperated by that.
But see, that's the cool thing to do now. Like, you're
Right.
supposed to. You're defined by the things that you like.
Right.
So
Right.
then I like the movies, so therefore I want to classify myself as a fan.
Mm-hmm.
Big fan. Nobody likes to be like, oh, I'm tepid water on Batman. Nobody wants to say that. So they always use like, oh, I'm a huge fan of Batman.
See, this is
we
where
had
it
a
becomes.
Conversation with someone who's like, oh, I'm a huge fan of Batman, and I was like, oh, really? Like blah blah blah. And then she's like, I don't know.
Right.
So it is what it is. But
Because of the whole like Azrael,
Yeah.
like, and the people are like, what is that? And we're like,
well, I would say like
How many Robins can you name?
Right.
Just, like,
Yeah,
it's just a little thing.
snobby
It's like,
fan
yeah.
questions that you can
Which I
ask.
don't want to
Yeah.
be, but you can't help but like internally think that.
Okay, honestly, but here's how I feel. I mean, honestly, here's how I feel. When people are,
hey, can you be honest and tell us how you feel?
we're about to find out. I am hearing though that people are trying to be these comic book fans.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that's cool that there is so much more of an in for people to
I
come
agree.
into this semi-exclusive, kind of hipster, like off the beaten path, kind of club sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
And it's like these Marvel movies are a perfect gateway for people to start reading Marvel comics. Of course, that's what they want.
Right.
And then one thing leads to another. I Hate Fairyland is
Right. So
Is it? But
like a
I
lot.
feel like that's what we're going to see in the next 10 years.
But here's the thing: like 6 months ago, if we had this conversation, I would disagree with you.
Okay.
I would be like, no, if you want to be a fan of something, be a fan of something.
Right.
Like if you want to say I'm a fan of Batman, then know Batman. Like you don't have to know all the like tiny like hyper
details,
But if I
right.
go, who's Damien? You should be like, oh, that's Batman's son.
Right.
Like and you don't have to go, oh, that's a son with so and so, and then he was
Sure,
trained by.
We're not
okay.
trying to like dig
Here's
deep
the
into
thing, though.
that.
Recently, and I would say in the last few months, I have completely 180'd that.
Okay.
Where if someone goes, I'm a huge Batman fan, I'm like, oh, really? Like, what do you like about Batman? Like, oh, I've seen all the movies. I'm like, cool. You
Yeah,
can
there
be.
you
go.
I'm gonna say that's cool because anything that gets people into comic books
here we
can
go.
lead them to indie comics.
Yes.
And the way I define indie comics is anything that the person who created it owns.
Mm.
So
Yes,
if
there
you,
you go.
so we call it creator owned, but like, a Dark Horse owns like certain IPs and stuff like that. but-
Right.
They also have a lot of licensed work.
Right. But see, that's
Because
why
like,
I
aren't they
always
a part of like a DC Dark Horse?
No, that's
Vertigo.
yeah.
Vertigo.
And then Icon
Okay.
is
Marvel.
Marvel.
Right.
So when we talk about Empress, we're really talking about Marvel.
But we're not because
it's
Icon
it's
is
Miller.
Marvel's creator owned publisher.
Right.
So really, if you get published under Icon, you get some Marvel backing,
Sure.
but for a creator-owned project.
Yeah.
Which hats off to Marvel. I'm glad that they have like a publishing aspect of their huge name that goes, hey, Marvel. Because see, the thing with Marvel is that they have a certain look, they have a certain feel. Like it's kind of like the McDonald's of comic books, where if you buy a Marvel book, you want to know what you're getting into.
Right.
Whereas if you're buying an Icon book, you're like, well, this is different. Like this isn't gonna like Empress is not like anything under the Marvel banner.
Right. Well, 'cause it's its own thing.
Right, and I'm glad to do that. Same thing like Vertigo. Like it lets them
absolutely.
do different things, and I'm glad that they do that. But like that's why the class so many times I'll be like indie books, and it's also called small press. Like I consider Dark Horse small press. Like
Right.
because
Yeah.
they're not knocking out the numbers that Marvel or DC is knocking out, but they don't. Some of the creators for Dark Horse don't own those.
A lot
books.
of right.
No, yeah, absolutely. Like the Alien and Predator books,
Right.
like those
They
creators
don't
don't
own
own that, or Firefly, or
So-
all of it.
But that's how I define.
So
indie
would-
comics, like
so-
anything that's small, basically.
So would you say like IDW?
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
indie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, that's another company that owns
lot
a
of
lot of
licensed
like
work.
licensed work, but then they
A ton, actually.
Yeah.
yeah,
A
but then
ton.
but then they publish like other books that are creator owned.
Sure.
And a lot that are like coming from like
That's
TV
why
shows.
That's
a
why I would say
ton.
Image is like the top of the pinnacle for the indie world because
Yes.
they are almost as recognizable as Marvel and DC.
Yeah.
To comic book fans, you can't once you get outside the comic book world, then nobody knows who Image is. But
Right.
but then Walking Dead is
Yeah.
starting to bring people into the fold because that's Image book, and
And I think that's like a pretty good opening because for the most part, it's a pretty entertaining comic book.
I would love to be able to find the numbers on like fans of the show that have now walked into comic books,
Dude,
and then
a
how many
ton.
of those fans have
Confession.
explored further.
Confession, that was actually me. I did not pick up a single title of The Walking Dead until I watched the show.
There it is.
Yeah, that's and
It helps.
you're one of the reasons why the people who managed to get that first issue before anybody else now literally have a college fund for their kids.
You're welcome.
Yeah, because the number one first printing of Walking Dead, I think minimum sells like $25,000 now.
There you
That's
go.
how I sort of feel about the Blackest Night when it first came out, because people people didn't think it was gonna be good, and I collected every single issue because I loved it so much. And like you got the sub issues where you're just all like, exactly, and like I wanted them all because it was such a good story arc, and I guess that's what made my love for DC even more. Is like. Because I didn't know where to go with Marvel, and I only stuck to X-Men, and that was it. Because that's where my favorite characters were from.
And you don't like, correct me if I'm wrong, but you didn't really go like super deep into X-Men.
Not entirely. I just want.
Like you dug Jim Lee's X-Men.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it. Because Jim Lee, I love you. Oh, Jim Lee. Yeah,
Now you can see why she's on the show.
Oh.
Anyone who flies that banner, come on in.
Anybody flying the Jim Lee banner?
I follow you on Instagrams. I don't have a Twitter, but if I did, we'll
Guys, I didn't know Jim Lee was on Instagram.
Shut up.
I'm gonna fix it right now.
Oh my
I'm
God!
bad at
dude.
Instagram.
Get good.
Yeah, he was like
sorry.
posting like original sketches that he was given as Christmas
Oh my
presents.
God! Oh my God! I
Right?
was freaking out. Okay, sorry. Because I want one of those, Jim
Yeah.
Lee.
I used to work with someone whose brother worked
Just
for
kidding.
Jim
I'm
Lee.
following him. That
And-
didn't just hit that right now.
So I used to work with someone whose brother works for Jim Lee, like at DC, like
Oh,
up
that's
there
the
and everything.
calculator.
And it was like
What am I
so
doing?
cool. It was the
Clock.
closest I ever
There we go.
been to him, except when he signed
Whoops.
my comic books at Comic Con.
I forgot to do the
I
timestamps.
remember when you told me that, and I never hated you so much.
Yeah, and look where we're at now.
Guys, I haven't hit any of the timestamps, so I just turned it off.
That's fine.
Yeah, sweet. So, hey, you know who we're a fan of also? Scott Snyder.
Oh, he's good.
I'll read anything that man has done.
You know what's funny? He wrote a thing.
He did, didn't he?
I didn't know about this until we went to the comic book store and be like, oh, Scott Snyder, I'll pick that up when I get back home.
Back it up, back it up, back it up. What's that called?
Like a dump truck.
I didn't even mean to.
You triggered it, so I'm going to go along with it. All right, Scott Snyder.
After Death. Jeff
With-
Lemire.
With Jeff Lemire.
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 Lemire. Lemire.
Lemire.
I can't even see that, so I don't even know.
It's right
Yeah,
here.
it's so this guy.
Lemire.
Lemire.
There you go.
Cool. So
Jeff.
he did the art.
Whoop, there it is.
There it is.
Man,
Your
You
name.
do that every time.
Your name.
I
That's
did
correct.
good on the Lemire, though. You know how I did it, though? Because I was like, I looked at it and I was like, okay, it is on my side of Yara. And then but then when I went for Jeff, I didn't think of that. So I was like, "Brrr," yeah.
Jeff. This
Hi.
is Jeff.
Okay, so Scott Snyder, Jeff Lemire, After Death. This book is weird. This book is extremely weird.
Yes.
The first 2/3 of this book are basically
a novel?
A novel with a couple of pictures thrown in.
Yeah.
Which is actually really fun because it's different, and that's why I want to read it
That
more.
was-
It's different. You nailed it.
That when I first read, okay, so this is not a book that should be read when you're under a time crunch, right, Spencer?
Correct.
Okay,
Absolutely.
yeah. So 2 people struggled to get through this before we started the show because
Yes.
this was a last-minute thing that we were trying to fill in because we screwed up on another thing. But so the first thing that struck me about the book was the novel side of it. Like it's literally page after page of just story exposition with very little pictures. And then the parts that do have pictures, it's kind of like storybookish.
See, when you say that, I feel like that might be like a total turnoff to a lot of people
It might
because
be.
because like you read comic books, you have
What are you doing?
tons and tons of pictures. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
But like, here,
But here,
no, there's a better page than that. So okay, that one's all right. So
Sure.
right there.
That's-
mostly words.
2 pictures and a lot of words.
That's a lot of words. But see, the whole thing isn't like that. So
No.
what Snyder does is because he can be creative, is
Oh,
you get a couple of pages
an
of that,
amazing,
and then you get into comic books.
An actual comic.
Traditional comic book
Right.
Okay,
panels.
and then that causes you to ask questions, and so you're like, oh, what's going on? And then some more like
you get some
so
without
then-
any dialogue.
Then you get more comic book stuff, and then you get some more exposition. So it
It's
kind of mixes
so
it
great.
up. I would say it's probably 2/3 comic book, 1/3 novel type
Mm-hmm.
stuff.
40-60.
But then the novel type stuff it's used interestingly to me because it's building up the character that we're going to follow. So we're getting his past, we're getting his childhood, some crazy trauma, like how he dealt with death that was like meaningful to him, and
that we sort of still kind of don't know.
We're not sure what's going on, and so
which is exciting.
After the first issue, you are left with a lot of questions.
Absolutely, especially because this is part 1 of 3.
And I'll be honest, I don't know how we're going to. I don't know how we're going to get from beginning to end in 3 books when one doesn't even. I would say, like, if we're talking story wise, so if a story goes from 1 to 10, right? So
is this a prologue?
Real quick,
right? Yeah, I would call this like a prologue to a novel, which means we're only getting 2 more. And it's a hefty book. I think it's a good 50 pages, maybe.
Oh, and I love the way it's not
magazine
like your
size.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's not your traditional like comic issue that you just saw.
But like, it's it's a prologue. Like issue 1 is a prologue. I don't know how that's a good pull.
How does that work?
Yeah,
we'll see. Issue 2.
Issue 2 came out today. None of us have read it,
right?
Because nobody had time.
I scanned through this and I already like it.
So
yeah, and the art is so different.
It's wildly different.
And the art for the Black Monday murders, like it's like even the art for that, like it's dark, but you could. It's like watching or like reading a movie if you could, because the facial expressions are so realistic. Dang it. Cocker? Okay, sorry.
We're done talking about Black Monday.
I got really excited when you're talking about the art.
Well, what's the difference about
it's dirty? Unless you're talking about the dog, Spaniel.
I like Cocker Spaniels.
But what about the art then in AD?
After death.
That's different because like the facial expressions
I would honestly
are
say, like,
so different in AD than they would be in Black Monday.
In Black Monday Murders, though, there is a far more traditional feel.
Yeah,
I would say
absolutely.
that she's right. Like it's tons of spot blacks where like they keep that dark tone in Black Monday Murders, but then in AD, it's like very light on the inks.
Yeah,
heavy on the watercolors.
Yeah,
it's so beautiful.
It's cool. It's
but
different.
It almost gives like a dreamy feel.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I like that word. Do you see the way my eyes lit up?
Yeah,
it's like bam, wow.
Which I think helps. What's going on?
Nothing.
My nose lit up too.
Like I think it gives.
Took the words right out of my mouth.
By the end of issue 1, I'm just going to spoil issue 1 because literally nothing happens. So
right.
All these books where nothing happens.
It's weird. Like
how do they
nothing happens, but
the mystery of it all.
But it sets up a mystery, and you don't want a lot to happen in the beginning of a mystery. You want the mystery to be set up, and then to take a little bit of time to get to the solution. Right? Like you don't want to start a Sherlock Holmes book and then be like, oh, here's everything up front, and now we're done for what?
I don't know. I like the build up to the mystery,
and
then living through the mystery, and then obviously solving it, just so I could get a good.
It's just really weird because, like you said, we only have 2 more issues, and how the crap are you gonna? If anybody's gonna deliver a crazy story in 2 issues, it's gonna be Snyder.
Yeah,
or maybe Millar.
Both.
Yeah, both those guys. Oh yeah, literally both.
Hey,
Frank Miller. Okay, so
Mark Millar.
Basically, in this book, the main character. Early childhood sucks.
Yep.
And then we see him like in the jungle.
Yep.
Yeah.
With
and then
these like acid plants.
Yeah.
Like
like
it might be a dream. We don't know that.
We don't. Yeah.
This whole thing could be a dream. Is this book?
Okay, so basically, then he goes into the jungle. Then he gets attacked by some weird creatures, and then some more exposition. And then next
about
thing,
his past childhood.
And then next thing you know, he's on like a farm with a cow.
Yep.
Which is really weird. And then we're starting to get the sense of like eternity.
Yara just mooed.
Because of the one panel.
The sound of the blanket.
Yeah.
The sound of the blanket.
Blankets
read it.
Do not move.
That's the reason why you should
Blankets do not move.
If blankets move.
No, they don't.
Buy this comic book and you'll find out.
No, they don't. There's no blanket.
He flips the blanket. It says moo.
Yep, that's what happens.
See, he's backing me up. Two out of 1. You lose this game, sir.
Yeah, you suck.
Good day, sir.
Okay, so then we're on this farm, and the guy's having a conversation with the guy who was running the farm.
And blankets that moo.
And like, there's a lot of dialogue where we're learning that people apparently are living forever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you start to get the hint, like, okay, is this like an afterlife type thing? Because he starts that section of the book with almost like a biblical, I think it's like a biblical quote.
Okay.
And then he goes from that to like the main character's been like stockpiling all this stuff in like the garage, and he ends up stealing this cow for whatever reason, we don't know. He's like, he loves
likes
this.
stealing things.
And
then
the
the
cow goes whoosh.
Gosh, she deflated both of us. They love these bouncy
winner.
chairs.
What do these chairs?
And then
okay, I'm not
and
gonna
then,
go.
then he transfers off the farm with the cow that they don't. He steals the cow, and then he goes to like this science center that has this ridiculous sound detection system where they're
Right.
looking for life,
I
like
wonder what
out
that
in the
sound
world
is.
or something like that.
Right.
It's not moo. It's
It is not whoosh.
yeah.
Well, it's like he's on the top of Mount Olympus or something. They're looking down on the top of these storm clouds that are like a bunch of different colors, and they're trying to listen for life.
For life, and
Which is really cool because like when you start going into his like more present
Yeah.
story, it says AD like 800 something, like after
Right.
death, which is crazy because it's like, aren't we in the year of 2016?
Nope,
AD?
2017 if you're watching
Yeah.
So there's your answer.
this. What?
I asked, well, doesn't that mean we're in the year of 2016? You said no, and I'm like, yeah, frick, you're right. So,
It must be after death.
oh, which is like a little subtle thing like that. Like, okay, like what if that?
Right.
What does that mean after?
So
death?
is like after death could be, they call like death a thing that happened in the world, because as he's
Right.
driving to that science center, I pointed that out to you, where he apologizes to this barren city, like, I'm gonna make things right, and then you guys having fun?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just making sure. And then he looks in the rearview mirror and he sees like this dude with like bolts in his head.
Right.
He freaks out, and then the girl that he meets at the science center, they know each other, but then
Yeah.
she's all like, "Oh, by the time we ever see each other again, I won't even remember you." And then, but they don't explain that. So like,
Alternate dimensions.
yeah, like this issue
no,
one
not
just
so much.
raises all these questions of like,
Right.
what the crap is going on?
That's why we need to read issue
yeah,
two.
and issue
Don't
2
rush.
has to be jam packed, but
Right.
I would say issue 1 is intriguing enough
Mm-hmm.
to put. It's three books.
Well,
Like-
issue 1 was heavy and it's long, so I
Yeah, it's
have a
56.
feeling there's gonna be enough. There are enough pages, right? Like the book will be big enough of book 2
Yeah.
to get enough
Yeah, so
to
like,
build up for that climax.
if you're looking for a mystery book that not going to require a crap ton of commitment time, 3 issues is next to nothing. Like, that's almost unheard of for a story arc.
True, but this is a $5.99 book. This is
It
a
is a little
magazine
bigger, yeah.
size. I mean, Black Monday Murders is a $4.99 book. I mean, it's longer for sure.
Yeah, but
Um,
I love this. I love that Scott Snyder's doing something wildly different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's breaking away from Batman to do, but he's also been an indie guy for a little while with American Vampire.
and witches.
Yep. So he just, go him. I love this book, and if you're looking for a weird mystery that literally answers none of your questions in the first issue, but there is already a second issue.
Something to get in, dive into, and find out for yourself.
That's right.
Thanks, Yara.
My one.
Rivera, our special guest, my
Yeah,
sister-in-law.
That's right. Don't forget it. But my one warning, if you want to call it a warning, is that if you need more traditional art,
This is not it.
yeah, this is not it.
No.
This
If you're
has
looking for a
weird art.
traditional book, move along, because
Right.
this is as far as you could get, really.
But
Right.
you're also welcome with arms wide open.
Cool. So there's After Death.
So
And I don't want to talk about it anymore because who knows what else could happen.
I'm gonna put this down, and we're just gonna move on, because for some reason we just quoted song lyrics.